The outer loop. This is HPDE 4 TT group. First time running HPDE 4, and it's the outer loop, which is one of my weaker things because it's one of the least track configurations besides the full course that we run. And so it was a good and bad weekend. The bad part, well, we'll get to that, but basically I was that guy. I mean, when you have a problem with mixing HPD4 with TT guys, meaning you have HPD4 who are fast drivers, but they're not in a competitive kind of a scenario, whereas in TT guys they're competing for points, they're competing for this and that, and they got overall a point series they're chasing. So you mix the two together, and sometimes, no bueno. It's been discussed about putting HPD 3 and 4 together. I mean, they've done it before. When I first started, they did it. They actually did HPD 3 and 4 together on various weekends. But I swear it hasn't been like that for a couple of years now. And main reason is just there's so many classes of TT. It's kind of hard. They gotta get everybody enough track time. And it's just difficult in just one day. And so yeah, needless to say is they put HPD 4 and part of the TT guys. It's like TT 5 and 4 in there, and then or 6 and 4 or 6 and 5 in there, and then the rest go in another group. And when you do that, yeah, you get people who get in each other's way and piss other people off. Yeah, and I got to be that lucky person this weekend. We'll get to that in a minute. Car went in there, new brakes pads, new rotors, new brake fluid. Pretty good for the year now. This setup's a good setup that I run, and it'll easily last into next season for sure. And tire-wise, I still have my 201s, Federal 201s, good tire, medium compound. And then I had my street tires, my FP 8000 tires, which I have grown to love. Found out they're actually a Falcon tire that's just rebadged, which makes complete sense because they're pretty damn good for 300 tread wear street tire. But so I ended up going with the Federals, putting them on. They had plenty of life, and gonna burn them to the ground basically. Just there's too much life left in them to just get rid of them. But I kind of wish they were a little better because they are only a 225 width tire. Because the time when I wanted to get a pair of them was the only damn size I could find because everybody was back ordered. But I got the hookup now, so should be able to be getting a bigger pair for next year. Not this year. No more. I'm not spending a fucking dime anymore in the car this year besides fluids and that kind of shit. Brake pads, I'm good. Tires, fuck it. I'm running them. Don't care. So, yeah, put the 201s on. They're 225 width, 18 or 40 by 18. And they are teeny. And again, I got some crap from some guys today who looked at it. What size tires are those? It's like, oh, they're 225s. Huh. Their Honda S2000 had way bigger tires than that on their car. But I'm like, yeah. So went out there and I had a good time. The tires, man, I was surprised again. Ran all day and the tire wear was good. Like the tires are still good. Numerous track days on it now, and they still are holding up pretty dang good. And for a 225 width, look, I can't complain. The best I saw was 216 on the lap timer. And the lap timer was going kind of all haywire throughout the day. The third session of the day second session didn't even record anything. It had my lap times as 48 seconds. And I'm like, yeah, I think I was a little bit slower than a 48 second lap time. and that is 48 seconds. No, minute 48. I mean just 48 seconds. So yeah, it was haywire. I don't know if it's sometimes things get too hot, they start going haywire, but whatever. But yeah, I did 216, 217s, 218s. In the afternoon, it got hot. It's kind of higher. Dropped off my times to 220. I saw a lot of 220. I had lap traffic too, but it was a good time. It was really a good time. It was fun. Still sucked going into turn one. Yeah, that was still a thorn in my side. But the car did good, old reliable. The only problem I had with it was the oil temps. Oil temps, my water temps, since I put in a Mishimoto radiator, they don't move. I mean, it doesn't matter. The water temp never gets high, ever, with that radiator. But I watched the oil temps like a hawk, and they got high. Didn't throw any codes, didn't get in the red, but definitely ran high. It was upper 90s, and yeah, it was not a cool day. It was a hot day. So the one thing about the oil temp is I did do something that caused me to, basically I changed the ECU, reprogrammed it, and did some stuff and changed the red line to 7,500 instead of 6,500. And I found myself, because of the tire diameter, playing in the 7 to 7,500 RPM range quite a bit. And you could see it with no oil temps. I'd never seen the oil temps get that high before, and I watched it, and then of course when I got questionable about it, I started short shifting, and oil temps came down a little bit. But yeah, so the oil temps got high. But as I said, it didn't throw any codes, nothing, no real issues. It just got high on the gauge. So that was one issue. So I just had a short shift. So yeah, can't complain about that. Started mid. I wasn't sure where to start because this is HPDE4. These guys are, fast dudes. And TT guys, they're competing, so yeah. So I just kind of played it safe and figured middle, second row. Because there was guys in HPDE4 that I knew I was faster than, because I've randomly timed their laps, so I had an idea what they could run. And there's other guys I know that I can't hang with them, especially even if I had the same tires as them. Which I don't, but even if I was still on full slicks, big 305 and meats, I still would probably not be able to hang with them. And because their cars are faster, lighter, all that stuff. So and of course I didn't have 305s, I had just the little 225s. And they weren't slicks, they were tires. So we went out there, and that's when things went bad. It was the session one, I screwed up, and I didn't realize it until afterwards. And then I felt dumb, and a little driver's remorse, as they say. And that was HPDE4. What happens? I'm in a car that has pretty good straight line speed. And when you line it up with a bunch of cars that are in TT that don't have the straight line speed, well, you kind of have a little bit of a tiff. Not tiff, I should say, but conflict. And the conflict was, simply put, I caught a bunch of guys on the outgoing lap. Now, the outgoing lap, we're talking, it's a pretty fucking long lap. And it's gotta be, I don't know, 3 miles or something like that. I don't know. It's pretty big though, pretty big track. So, and I've always been, it's dead of summer, so the tires come up to heat really quickly for me, and in the hot. So I started pushing relatively fast. And needless to say is, I kind of, because of the power and whatnot, I kind of got in front of some of these slower TT cars. not that they're slow, it's just their cars are slow. So, yeah. And then, of course, you know, I tell everybody how weak I am into turn one. Well, some of these guys who I'm blowing by down the straightaway, literally with a 10 to 15 mile an hour speed difference, going to turn one, and I kind of surprise them with, whoa, like my speed in turn one was much slower than they anticipated. So they're right up my ass, or one kind of had to go wide a little bit to avoid things. And yeah, and I'm rightfully pissed them off, because what I didn't realize at the time, because I'm in the heat of the moment of driving this, that, and the other, is that TT, especially when you're running the bigger track configurations, there's only so many laps. And when you're doing lap times in the 20 or 2 minute X seconds, you're only going to get so many chances at a good lap time. And if you're competing, right? So you're trying to, and when you're in a Miata or a BRZ, you gotta hit all your marks just right to make your, you know, to get that killer time that you're going for, because everything's so close. So how do you do that? You just go bonsai and carry. It's a momentum thing. You just carry as much momentum as possible. And I was screwing up that momentum because where I have the luxury of being able to run those kind of lap times that they're running, and make mistakes. I can blow corner speed, I can blow an entry, and I have the power to crank it up on the straights, and I kind of make up the time. So yeah, that's where things kind of went. And I think I went, pissed some people off. So what they did is, after that first session, came with the second session. Again, I lined up in the middle, and I actually lined up even kind of further down. But they ended up kind of, the way they stacked us, they purposely found out, okay, we want you second row. They lined everybody up, which I thought was a great idea, to try to figure out, you know, these guys run these speeds, these guys, you know, get everything steady. And then they went and held the HPD4 guys for the most part. There was a couple guys that are really fast in HPD4 that they just let them start in the front of the TT guys, just because they're just faster than all the TT guys, period. And yeah, so and then they held us up for like, I want to say 10 seconds, maybe 20, somewhere around there. I didn't really count it, but to try to get those guys a lead so they can get some laps in before it caught them. But to be honest with you, it was a good idea, and I liked it, and I think it worked good. But we caught them pretty fast still. I think it was by the end of the first full lap. I mean, the out lap was one lap, and then the first full lap, we caught into them by the end of that lap, and we're cutting through, passing guys. So, I mean, I don't even think they got really one clean lap without having to deal with some of us on some point. But I like the idea, for sure. But I really think they just need to put all the competitive TT guys that are hitting, you know, in an actual competition, they need to try to stick them together. I know it's hard because there's so many classes and everything, but it's just so, like, those guys can all screw up each other's times, and it's like, well, they're all being competitive. So, yeah. They can yell at each other, so maybe they're not having somebody who's not competing screwing up their times. But besides that, yeah, old reliable, ran the track just fine, brought it home, tires look good, everything looks good, and just change all the fluids, be ready for the next one. Out.